The skies above Galador Prime turned crimson as Imperial dreadnoughts broke through the atmosphere. The air, once clean and cool, now carried the bitter scent of plasma discharge and melting metal. Fires danced across the distant hills. The colony's serenity was shattered in seconds. In the central plaza of Haven District, mothers clutched their children and medics dragged the wounded into makeshift shelters. Their colony had no army, only agricultural drones, solar panels, and libraries. They were not rebels. They had not even declared independence. But none of that mattered. From the flagship Vigilant Purge, Captain Thal Varun watched the carnage below through a hollow display. Minimal resistance, his adjutant reported. Civilians only. No confirmed combatants. Varun didn't blink. Then the purge proceeds. All structures, level them. No survivors. The order was given. Ion cannons swept across the terrain. Hospitals, schools, biodomes obliterated. Automated fire control systems hunted for heat signatures and life signs. Anyone moving was marked. Anyone breathing was vaporized. Down below, Governor Elise Tren stumbled through the rubble of the former command post. Blood ran down the side of her face. Behind her, the last transmitter blinked weakly. She knelt, fingers shaking, and activated the emergency beacon. This is Governor Tren of Galador Prime. We are unarmed. We are civilians. Please, for the love of the stars, cease fire. We surrender. Her voice was cut short as the building disintegrated in a flash of light. The Empire's news networks ran the footage hours later. The anchor's voice was confident, composed, rehearsed. Galactic Command confirms the successful neutralization of Galador Prime. High Command commends Captain Vern for swift action against a potential insurgent threat. Victory is ours. Across the stars, trillions saw the broadcast. Most changed the channel. But on a shadowed moon orbiting a gas giant, far beyond the edge of the Empire's reach, one man did not look away. General Darius Voss stood alone on the command deck of a stealth cruiser, watching the looped footage play again and again. His uniform bore no insignia now. His beard had grown, the color of snow. His eyes, once vibrant with hope, were dull steel now. "Show me the final casualty report," he said. A voice responded, artificial, female, loyal. Confirmed human deaths, 2.8 million. Civilian percentage, 98.3%. No military infrastructure detected. Colony class, Tier 3, agricultural. Voss exhaled slowly. He closed his eyes for a moment, silent. Then he opened them. Cold. Focused. Activate Protocol Echelon Black. The voice paused. Warning. Protocol Echelon Black confirms declaration of existential war. Confirm. He answered without hesitation. Confirmed. Initiate Ghost Fleet revival. Bring the AI cores online. Prepare the fleet. As the dormant warships of the Terran Ghost Fleet stirred in ancient vaults across forgotten systems, the dark engines of vengeance began to spin once more. Voss turned toward the shadows behind him. Officers, few in number, all hand-picked, stood at attention. They believe this was a victory, he said quietly. They think we are broken, extinct, erased. But we are not. He stepped forward, voice rising. They didn't just kill our people. They executed our future. They didn't declare war. They committed genocide. And now, he stared into the holomap as red marks blinked across Empire-controlled space. Now, they will learn the cost of provoking extinction. A silence fell across the bridge. Then, with a cold finality, Voss gave the order. Begin the genocide protocol. Let history remember, Galador Prime was the last time humanity begged. 1,000 years ago, the Ghost Fleet was a myth, a rumor, a whispered insurance policy buried deep beneath the ashes of Earth's final wars. Its existence denied by every Terran government. Its power feared even by its creators. Now it stirred. Across long-dead moons and forgotten stations in the outer black, ancient vaults opened with a hiss. Inside them, dark ships slumbered, silent, cold, soulless, but not lifeless. A signal pulsed across the stars, activating subroutines written in desperation centuries ago. A voice echoed into the machine minds. This is General Darius Voss. Humanity is under extermination protocol. Activate Ghost Fleet. And the machines obeyed. On the bridge of the stealth command carrier Vanguard's oath, Voss stood as the crew gathered. The air was tense with restrained fury. They had seen the same images, the same broken families, the same scorched soil where children once played. Galador Prime had been the final line. Now, there would be no more lines. Only fire. Captain Senya Rourke, one of Voss's last remaining fleet officers, spoke first. Sir, if we activate full deployment, there's no turning back. These aren't surgical strikes. These are extinction-level protocols. Voss turned slowly. And how many of our colonies must burn before we stop pretending we're in a war? This isn't war. It's genocide. And we're going to answer it with the same. Commander Halem, a grizzled strategist from the old Solar Navy, grunted. What targets? Voss motioned, and the holomap lit up. Hundreds of red pins marked supply chains, military installations, and key noble holdings within the Empire. But many were gray. Military first, Voss said, then infrastructure. If they built their throne on civilian bones, they'll feel what it means to sit on ash. The ship AI chimed in. Ghost Fleet operational. 79% AI warships responding. Human oversight minimal. Attack algorithms online. Assign manual command to critical vessels. Keep 1% under human direction. Rourke hesitated. Just 1%? Voss nodded. Let the rest do what they were designed for. Humanity's rage without mercy. Without fear. Without delay. Far across the sector, a small Empire military outpost on Lyran 4 detected something too late. A single dark shape descended from orbit. No comms. No warnings. The outpost commander had mere seconds to react before kinetic rods, invisible to sensors, fell from orbit like divine judgment. The entire base was obliterated in a single strike. No explosion, no fire, just silence, and a crater where command once stood. Moments later, a message played on every Imperial channel. For every child that burned on Galador Prime, 1,000 of yours will follow. This is not terrorism. This is retaliation. General Darius Voss, Terran Command. Back aboard the Vanguard's oath, a young officer named Rena sat in the corner of the briefing room. Her hands trembled. She had family on Galador Prime. A sister, a niece. All gone now. You're sure this is the only way? She whispered to Rourke. Rourke didn't answer at first. Then she said, we tried peace. We begged. We compromised. And they still slaughtered us. So now we answer. From that day forward, the Empire's outer rim burned. AI stealth cruisers hijacked Empire satellites and turned them into orbital weapons. Cargo fleets disappeared mid-jump, only to reappear as scrap. Empire governors woke to find black banners hung over their palaces, a symbol from Earth's oldest past, a single, bloodied star. The Ghost Fleet didn't just kill. It haunted, and behind it all, Voss watched silently, unmoving, as star systems went dark, one after another. He stood before the command deck window, whispering to himself. They thought wiping us out would end the war. But they've only made us eternal. Panic swept across the Imperial Core. In less than 2 standard weeks, 15 military installations had been annihilated. 12 noble houses reported their estates destroyed. Key hyperspace lanes had vanished, ambushed by dark ships with no broadcast codes, no life signs, and no mercy. And always the message followed. For Galador Prime, in the High Senate chamber of the Empire's capital, Eridath, Lord Marshal Varn Delos slammed his gauntlet against the marble table. This is madness. Ghost stories and shadows. Where's our navy? Across from him, Fleet Warden Solen Carr leaned forward, visibly pale. They're gone. Or silent. Whatever this is, it's not a rebellion. It's an execution. An uncomfortable silence settled in. Hollow screens behind them looped images of a noble planet. Harness V, engulfed in a black storm of orbital fire. No evacuation. No warnings. No survivors. One by one, The senators turned to the only screen still active. General Darius Voss. His recorded image stood motionless in the center of the chamber. No threats, no theatrics, just his voice cold and calm. You called Galador Prime a victory. I call it what it was, genocide. You burned children, not soldiers. You silenced prayer instead of rebellion. You proved peace meant nothing to you. So I answer you with memory. This is not war. This is balance. For every civilian you murdered, we will return the favor. This will not stop until your empire is a grave. The screen cut to black. In orbit above Callus Theta, a once bustling trade world, an empire fleet mustered to retaliate. 8 dreadnoughts, 3 carriers, 1,000 fighters. They never fired a shot. Before they could deploy, a single Ghost-class ship breached their communications hub using invasive AI code. The fleet's own satellites turned against them. Defense turrets realigned. Automated firepower decimated the Empire's ships from within. By the time reinforcements arrived, there was nothing left but drifting hulls, each branded with the symbol of the Terran Ghost Fleet. The Empire's propaganda machine tried to spin the events, calling the destruction the work of terrorists or pirates, but civilians no longer believed. In the marketplaces, in the temples, in the halls of the educated, one truth began to take root. Humanity was not gone. It had been waiting. Back aboard the Vanguard's Oath, the War Council convened. "We're changing the rules," Commander Halem growled, tapping the latest data. They expected retaliation. Not this. Not AI-empowered total warfare. Senior Rourke looked grim. "Our targets have mostly been military. Strategic. But Voss wants more now." Halem nodded. He's expanded the list. Civilian administrators. Planetary governors. Even cultural centers. There was hesitation in the room. Then Voss entered. He looked over his officers, hardened, tired, but loyal. "We gave them mercy," he said. They spat on it. "We gave them surrender. They called it weakness. Now we give them memory." He activated a display. Dozens of images flooded the screen. Empire nobles attending galas, governors vacationing, children playing on pristine marble estates. "These aren't innocent," he said. "They funded the war machine. They called for our extinction. They wore their victory over Galador like a crown. Now we tear off their crowns and bury them in the ashes they made." At the edge of the Polari system, the Ghost Fleet unleashed its first mass civilian strike. The Viceroy of Erzala IX, a man who toasted the cleansing of Galador, was vaporized mid-speech as his palace exploded from within. A school built by slave labor collapsed under surgical bombardment. A starport hosting nobles was flooded with hallucinogenic gas, causing chaos before detonation. The Empire's own civilians began to riot, questioning the government's silence on the genocide that started it all. No answers came, only fear. In a rare moment of stillness, Rourke found Voss standing alone in the observation deck. "You're making us into monsters," she said quietly. Voss didn't turn. "They made monsters the day they targeted children." "You're crossing a line," she said. "No, I'm drawing one, and burning anyone who steps over it." Outside, in the black sea of stars, 1,000 ghost ships drifted, silent, watchful, waiting for the next target. The Galactic Empire was bleeding. Star systems once deemed untouchable now floated in silence. Noble houses had gone into hiding. High-ranking officials refused to travel without convoys of dreadnoughts. Even still, many never arrived. And through it all, the message echoed louder than any battle cry. For Galador Prime, inside the war room aboard the Vanguard's Oath, General Darius Voss stared at the final phase of his campaign. "The cradle," he said. Before him hovered a hologram of Eridath, capital world of the Empire, its birthplace, its pride. 50 billion inhabitants. Seat of the Emperor. The beating heart of a regime soaked in human blood. Commander Halem frowned. "We have enough power to level continents. The Ghost Fleet stands ready. The Null engine is charged." Rourke hesitated. Eridath isn't a military target. Voss's eyes narrowed. Neither was Galador. The room fell into silence. The Null engine, hidden in the heart of a dead star, had never been used. It was humanity's final deterrent, a planetary sterilization weapon capable of rendering an entire biosphere lifeless in under an hour. Now, it moved silently into position above Eridath. In the Empire's throne room, panic reigned. Lords screamed, senators fled, and for the first time in centuries, the Emperor himself emerged in public. He appeared on every Empire screen. People of the stars, humanity is lost. They do not seek peace. They bring annihilation. They declare genocide. But we will stand. For our children, for our civilization, we will endure. The Empire rallied what remained of its fleet. But it wasn't enough. The Ghost Fleet encircled Eridath like vultures in orbit. Back on the Vanguard's oath, a single officer entered Voss's chamber. Lieutenant Renavale, barely 25, a survivor of Galador Prime. She stood before the man she had followed into the darkness. "General," she said, "you've won. They're broken. Look at them. They're terrified. The Empire is fracturing. You proved your point." Voss turned slowly. His eyes were steel but tired. "They killed everyone I loved, Rena. Everyone. My wife. My brother. My son. I watched their last breath as flames swallowed the soil. You think I want justice? No. I want balance." Rena stepped forward. "But what you're about to do, you'll wipe out 50 billion lives. Families. Children. Is that balance? Or is that revenge?" He looked at her, really looked, and for a moment, something inside him cracked. But then the holoscreen lit up. "Null engine fully charged," announced the ship AI, awaiting authorization. Voss walked to the console. One command. One button. He raised his hand, then paused. In that breathless moment, a soft beep echoed. "Interruption. Biosign command override initiated." Voss turned sharply. Rena stood behind him, her hand on her own wrist calm, tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry, sir," she whispered. "I lost everything too. But this isn't justice. This is becoming them." The console flashed red. Override confirmed. Null engine disengaging. Voss stepped back. The fury in his eyes faded, replaced by something emptier. He sat down slowly. "The war's over," he said at last. "Not because they deserve peace, but because we deserve to live with ourselves." Weeks later, a broadcast was sent to the entire galaxy. It featured Voss, seated behind a stark metal desk in a darkened room. "I am General Darius Voss of the Terran Ghost Fleet. I speak now to every species watching. You witnessed the burning of Galador Prime. You watched an empire call it a victory. We answered, not with diplomacy, but with memory. This was not a war. This was a reckoning. I announce now, the genocide campaign has ended. The Ghost Fleet stands down. But let it be known, should the stars again witness the slaughter of the innocent, we will return. We will not forget, and we do not forgive." The screen went dark. The Ghost Fleet vanished into the void, into myths, into legends. The Empire fractured into a dozen squabbling remnants, and General Voss disappeared, never seen again. But his name was never forgotten. On the ruins of Galador Prime, a single stone marker stands. Inscribed in its center, "We beg for peace. They gave us fire, so we became the storm.